Well, I want to welcome to the program now. We had a late shift in our in our lineup, but that's okay. Now we were talking about Nathan Carey, who was a former student athlete at CSUB. He's working with this company, Boom Productions. He's actually shooting the Roadrunner series right now. So he had an interview come up. He couldn't make it to this, but we're joined by Will Honeyball, joins us on the program, and James Rogers, both working with Boom Productions, and the series now Touch Soccer. Talk about that a little bit and what that series entails.
Okay, so basically we're from London for starters.
I couldn't tell, by the way. No idea.
A lot of people think we're Australian.
Well, you know, Australian guys get a lot of chicks. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's true. They like the accent over here, so we don't complain.
Exactly.
So what we're doing actually over here is we're focusing on focusing on Bakersfield, on the soccer program here, because as you mentioned, Nathan was an ex-player here. Mm-hmm. He worked for Simon Tobin. He played for Simon Tobin for who was here for 27 years.
Yeah.
And obviously made a lot of contacts in that time. And back home in England, things are slightly different. Like the university system is not as it is over here.
Right.
So if you want to play a sport in the UK, generally you have to kind of give up your studies to focus on
It's a choice.
that.
It's school or academy, basically.
Yeah. And over here, obviously, they both come hand in hand. So if you want to become a soccer player, obviously you have the potential to get a scholarship to pursue your sport as well as get a good degree at the end of it. So I think for an audience back home, that's of interest because it's showcasing a different side of the academic world and the sporting world. And also I think people don't realise how big soccer is over here as a sport now, how it's grown from the time when Nathan played in the sort of early 90s to how it is now. And it's kind of what we're over here doing is following different programs to kind of see how they operate, focusing on different aspects of each program to kind of compare them. And yeah, we've been here for the last 4 or 5 days, kind of following Richie Grant and his team, and it's been a great experience. Like this town is massive on soccer, and it's just from our perspective, it's great to kind of see how they've embraced it and how big it is now.
We're showing some of the highlights from our game in San Jose State, and this is 2,500 people on a Saturday night jam into our soccer stadium for that one, and obviously Simon Tobin coming back was a big storyline. But you guys were there on Saturday for the exhibition game, and we're talking 1,000 people showed up for a Saturday afternoon exhibition. I mean, what were your thoughts on that?
It was great. I mean, to see. Because it was obviously a community game, to see them embrace it and to come down and show their support, it was incredible, and it was a great game. It was a lovely day, and it was just it was from our perspective to see that was really good to see all those people there, supporting the team.
I think it's the largest crowd we saw. We've done 2 of the spring games on this trip so far. We've been to Cal Poly, we've been to Santa Barbara, and obviously they still generate an audience, but nothing like the crowd that you guys had here for that game. And for a spring season game, that's very big and just shows what it means to Bakersfield, what soccer is over here.
Well, maybe we have to, because they call Santa Barbara soccer heaven, but obviously if we're out drawing them in the spring game, we should be like soccer nirvana or something like that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Maybe we'll go with that in the future. But and that was something too that I've brought up when I kind of talked to you guys. But the growth of this game at the collegiate level is kind of, it's an interesting case study, because I think the success of soccer in the United States as a professional league now with the MLS and things like that, and of course the ability to access Premier League games and things overseas like that, has really trickled down to the collegiate level.
Yeah, definitely. It's incredible. When you talk to people back home about soccer, we obviously call it football. Right. You have American football over here. When we talk about soccer, kind of people don't take it seriously, or they don't think it's taken seriously over here. But I mean, it is. It really is. And all the sports over here are, and that's just it's so great for us to see that. And as I mentioned before, with the academic side as well, is that they're given, these student athletes are given the support to sort of do well in their studies, and have the potential to go on and become professional athletes as well. As you mentioned with the MLS now, like these players can be drafted into the MLS, which is great. We don't have that system back home. We have players are scouted and recruited and taken into academies a lot earlier.
Right.
So as I mentioned, they kind of have to give up their studies to focus on that. They don't get that kind of duality that you get over here, which is great.
Now, how's this specific series going to work? You were around the runners for about 5 days. So how's this all going to work, and how can people eventually see it?
So we have a website. It's touchsoccerusa.com, and on there at the moment is a series that's currently airing that we filmed back in the fall last year with Simon Tobin's team, San Jose State. So that's good. We kind of, the first episode on him focuses on his time at Bakersfield, so that might be of interest for people to watch that. And this series is going to come out in June time. Okay. So when we go back, we've got a lot of editing work to do.
Yeah.
We've filmed everything since we've been here. We've been in the locker room. We just, this is another unique kind of aspect, I guess, to what we're doing, is we have real unlimited access. We film everything. We're around the players. We're around the coaches. We go on the team buses with the players, and I think for people who are interested in soccer and sport in general, I think the access that we have, you don't really get in any other programming.
Become flies on the wall, you know, we just start gelling into the background, and maybe at first the team are slightly aware we're there, but it does get to the point where they just kind of forget we're there and kind of embrace, it seems natural to them that we are there with a camera following them, and the content we get is brilliant.
And also, we couldn't do this back home, really, because there's a lot more barriers, I think, and over here people want to promote the programme and want to promote the sport, and that's, I guess, what we're here to do, is we're here to showcase to not just the UK but to the rest of the world how professional it is at this level and how popular the sport is over here now.
Nice. No, it's been great to have you guys around. I can't wait for the series. TouchSoccerUSA.com, and of course we'll really promote that when it does come out in June. And Will and James, I appreciate you guys joining us.
No worries,
and
thank you.
Will, I see you're already a Bakersfield official with the cap, so good to see that. Guys, thanks so much for joining us, and good luck with the rest of your stuff. And again, TouchSoccerUSA.com, and we'll have more of that when the Runner series comes out in June. But check out the series right now. Simon Tobin, our former coach up at San Jose State. Good stuff for the Western Athletic Conference in general, these two programs being featured on this series. So more to come on that on our website, GoRunners.com. You can also get the show anytime online at GoRunners.com, archive editions of the program, and today's show as well. Make sure you download that. Next week on the program, Mike Mendoza, CSUB wrestling coach, joins us to talk about his Evening with Stephen Neal coming up, the annual fundraiser, as with the former NFL world champion and, of course, national champion at CSUB comes to town for that annual event. We'll talk with Mike about that and much, much more. I'll have highlights from the baseball series in Sacramento and all that great stuff. So check us out next week here on Bakersfield.com and, of course, on demand at GoRunners.com. Thanks so much for joining us, all the guests today. We'll catch you next time. This has been Roadrunner Rundown.